Hello coders, welcome to another YouTube tutorial. This is Bisky here, and in this tutorial we decided to refactor our code on our video of number 5 of creating a chat application. Someone commented about Riverpod instead of block, so we decided to develop our application using the Riverpod. So for me, I have to look to all your comments and I do what you wish. So what is a Riverpod? That the motivation behind Riverpod. Asynchronous requests need to be cached locally as it would be unreasonable to re-execute them whenever the UI refreshes. Since we have a cache, our cache could be out of date if we are not careful. We also need to handle errors and loading states. So with this library, we are no longer using set state, and the UI will refresh automatically no matter how complicated is your design. So let's get started. So in our dependencies, there are few dependencies that you want to add, and these dependencies are for Riverpod, and there is the other one for freeze that we are going to use to generate our models. So let's add these dependencies. So we have Riverpod annotation that we are using to annotate our classes, and the freeze annotation. This is for our models, and we are going to use hook Riverpod, and we are also going to use Flutter hooks. And for Riverpod, we need also to add a generator in our development dependencies. So let's add this one. This one, Riverpod generator. So let's try to sync the dependencies. So if we are using a Riverpod, there's one thing that we have to do. We must go to our main class, and then in our application you see we added multi-provider. So let's wrap this one with let's wrap it with another widget from Riverpod, which is provider scope. Yeah, so by doing this, our application will be able to use Riverpod. So we want to do some refactoring, and here we don't want to use a block from now on. So let's go into our lib and create a new directory. This one, just call it a core, and let's add a new directory called providers. So there are a list of providers that we want to add, and the first one we want to add an Appwrite client provider. Let's create this class, Appwrite client provider. In this class, we are going to add our client connection to our Appwrite. So you just for this one, it is going to be a client provider. So with Riverpod, let's just say final Appwrite client provider, then the provider, and we need a reference. So let's do this, and here we can create our strings, and we can create our variable, create field, and from our client service we just copy this and put it here and here. Just say strings, then the project ID, so by doing this we now have our we have our client provider. So the next provider that you want to create is the account provider. So let's create it. Appwrite account provider. And this one, we are going to use it as an account object for the Appwrite. So every time when you want to use an account, we just use this as a provider. It's like a singleton. We want to use it as a singleton. So we can call it Appwrite account provider. So we already have the logic for this. So let's import our dependencies from here. Let's import our Appwrite and our provider and our Appwrite client service provider. So we have our Appwrite account provider, whereby we use this account to do our account lookup for login, update name, update email for the account of Appwrite. So let's ignore this. So once we have this, we want to create our authentication, which is our view model. So let's go to the page. So in our login here, we want to create our login view model. So let's create, so we can just say provider. This is custom for login. So we can say provider. Also, this is for login. Then we can create a class called, we can call it auth view model. So for this auth view model, we want to create, it's like a notifier. In Riverpod, they call it a notifier. So we'll be able to listen to the state and do an action based on the state. So, and we can also invoke an event in this notifier. So let's call it class auth notifier, and we can extend. So we just put an underscore dollar and the name of your notifier like this, and here at Riverpod. So it will generate for us this class. So with this class, we'll be listening to a state, and we can call it this authentication state, where we bind our username, like our phone number, the loading state, and also the secret. So let's create the authentication state. So let's go to our model, new that file, and you can call it authentication state. Authentication state with, let's add our underscore. It means this thing, it will generate some code for us. So after doing this, we just do this, copy this, it will generate this class, and here we must annotate it. We must annotate with freezed. Let's use this dependence freezed. So it will help us to generate the other code for copy with. You see how it works. So here we can add some code here. We can say factory, and from here just say it default. It default from by default it will be empty. For string phone number, then we can also add secret, which is the OTP, and here it will be false. When loading, by default loading is false. When open this page, and it must return the name of this class, which is like this. So here we must add a part, which is the name of the class or the name of your file name here. Then you can call it freezed. And also let's go to our here. Let's go here, and we can update it also. It will going to return, it will have the logic for this, and then we can, what's the name of this one? This is the view module, and here it will be g.dat. Then we can go back to our model and copy this class name, and we want to use it in our here, and here it is going to be a build. It requires a state, then it will return a new object. So let's import this. So we can add it override here. So let's try to generate this. Generate these two classes of our view model, which is our notifier, and also our model. So let's copy the code to generate here in the README, and go to the terminal and run this. It's supposed to generate two files for us. Let's see. Let's see if we have, let's see few files. This one was added. Let's add this one. Yeah, this file was added. Why we have an error? Let's see the loading. Okay, I think it's because here it's supposed to be a bool, and why this one was not. Okay, refactor, just copy the class name, that's why it failed to generate this, and paste it here and run the same command again. The file name must be the same as here in the part name. As you can see, we managed to generate this one, and let's add it in our Git. So here, this is where we do our logic, and we now have the state. we are now at the state. You see this class, it extends an auto disposal notifier, and this is the build that you override, and we have this state. So let's try to implement here some logic for our login. So here let's start with the account that you want to use for login. So you just say get, then we have this reference, and the reference is from Riverpod, and we want to call Appwrite account service, which is this one. We can go to our providers in global. We want to call this one. So here this name of the method is the variable is account. Sorry for that. So we are now using this one. This is the singleton. So each time when you want to use an account, this is the way how we are going to use it. We shall create the other things like a storage, a database, etc. for messaging database users, database also for that. So after doing this, we'll be able to log in. So let's check the existing code that we currently have. Let's go to our blog. We have the logic for mobile number login. I think it's this one. Yes, just copy this one and go to our view model here, paste here. We are no longer using this event. Instead, let's delete this code. It's no longer necessary. And also this one is no longer necessary, and this account is no longer necessary, and this phone number here on the mobile number, we can say state dot mobile number. You just say state dot phone number. We'll be able to access our object that we override here. So be able to access these variables so easily. So here for account, we just say underscore account, which is this one. Then for token, let's import this one. After doing this, we want to update our phone number also. So before we do that, when we click the login button, we want to say state. Our new state is going to be state, the current state that we have. Copy everything, and then for a loading, we can set it to true. And after this, if there's an exception, let's remove this. If there's an exception, we want to set the loading to false. And after a successful login here, we want to also set this to false. And also you want to copy everything that we have for phone number, and we want to use the phone state. We want to use the token user ID, which is the phone number, the user ID, which is going to be this one. So in our state, we are going to have a phone number without a prefix. So here it is going to be a future and type of void. And if there's an exception here, let's throw it. Let's return a future error. So when there's an exception dot message, let's return the code that we have. We can return the message, or else we can return the code. So by doing this, we'll be able to use our auth notifier. So let's go back to our login page here. So in here, we want to refactor our code. So there's this check, which is a list of, okay. So let's minimize this and copy this. Or before I copy this, let's check our route first to our next OTP page. Let's check our route. And here, let's copy this. And we want to remove the whole block listener. Then we can paste this, our stack. So we don't want to use a block anymore. So after doing this, we can, from this class, let's do this. We want to use this login page. Let's do this and remove this code. We don't want to extend this one. So for that, in our Riverpod, we have to extend a consumer widget. Here we have to put a consumer widget. Consumer widget. After adding a consumer widget, it requires a widget reference here. This one, and we call it ref. And we have to initialize our notifier, which is this one. We want to initialize this thing, our notifier. This is our provider, which is this one. So you can come back in here and just say final notifier. So in our notifier, that's where we fire our event and listen to our event. So we can call our methods that are in our view model. So we can now use this ref. We can read our provider, this one. I think we can import this and read our notifier. Let's read it. And also we want to read our model, which is our state. So we want to watch every changes that are happening in our. We want to monitor everything that is happening here. So if we change anything, like if we change the loading state, or so by doing this, let's just add something here, which is our phone number change. Let's add a new method here, which is void phone number. And it accepts a string, which is just a string, which is our phone number. And we just say state, copy everything that is in our state, because we just want to modify the number. copy with, and we want to update phone number. We want to replace phone number only, and we'll replace with this string. And that's all from here, and we can go back to our class here. We have some errors here, which is get phone number, and it allows a context. So we are not going to use this logic. So this one was to log in. So let's remove it. Let's remove also this one. So what we are going to do here is we want to call we can use our notifier, but here we don't have our notifier. So we want to pass our notifier. Let's add that variable. So in our notifier, we just say notifier dot login. So before we do this, we want to update our phone number. Right now the phone number is empty. If we go here, the phone number is empty because there's no way we change the phone number state of which we want to use our phone number here for login. So let's update this. We just say notifier phone number change, then we pass our phone number. Then here we just say await, and this thing is returning a what? It's returning a future. So what we can do right now, we already copied this code, which is to navigate to another page. So let's just copy this one. We already have this code. So it means everything. It means login was successful. So what we can do here, we can also pass a context here and add this parameter. And here we just say notifier, or here we just say model. You can see here we are listening to our notifier, everything that is changing, but you can also watch what changed to our model. So let's also pass our model here and create this, which is our state. So in our state we just say dot phone number. So the phone number is going to be our user ID. After doing this, we'll be able to log in, but we must add also a loading dialog. We want to add a loading dialog. So for a loading dialog, we have this tag. So we want to listening to our model, everything that is changing. If we have something, the loading is true, we want to show a progress. So in our stack, we want to add a loading dialog on top of these two widgets. Here, just put a comma. And it requires a scheme, which is our theme. So from our theme, let's get a scheme that we currently have. We can do this, add this logic theme. You get your theme, then you get your scheme, color scheme. So let's test this. I think we can add a comma here. We have an we have an error here. Okay, for this to work, we have to say we must remove this question mark. We just say if, like this. Then we can say phone number dot substring one. Substring one. Let's test this. 049. And I'll receive an OTP 273306. You can see we are able to log in with our logic. So on the next video, we will continue to update this page using also Riverpod. Thank you guys for watching this video. We are now migrating our blog to Riverpod so that you'll be familiar with also Riverpod, which is good, and it will reduce the amount of code and time to write our code. Salut coders, if you are new to this channel, may you kindly subscribe so that we know that we are developing something that is helpful to you, and we keep on pushing to release more videos. Salut coders.